Hi, I'm Peter Reinhardt, and welcome to the Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread. I'm coming to you from the Hance Auditorium in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we've held the last 4 bread symposiums, and as you can see, there's nobody here but me. And this is where we usually have it. The seats are all empty because this year, thanks to you, the symposium will be presented online, virtually, in our new presentation hall, which is where I will join you in just a minute. Thank you, and thanks for being part of our new virtual Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread, presented by Puratos. Welcome again. Throughout the entire symposium, I'll be thanking our generous sponsors over and over again, and ask that you do as well by visiting their booths and pavilions in the exhibitor hall. There you will see lots of bonus content, and you can also make appointments to meet with the folks from these companies that serve our baking community so well. Our presenting sponsor is Puratos, who has partnered with us from the very beginning for all of our symposiums, and it is their support that helped us get this one-of-a-kind gathering of thought leaders off the ground. Please also visit our fabulous flour and milling sponsors, Ardent Mills, Lindley Mills, and Central Milling. Thank you also to our equipment sponsors, the WP Bakery Group and Allied Bakery and Food Service Equipment. And thank you also to our specialty food product companies, Probiotine, Fire Within, Big Green Egg, and Mock Mill. Please check out all of their booths to learn about their wonderful and unique products. And also thanks to our media sponsors, Cook's Country, The Local Palate, the James Beard Foundation, and the Bread Bakers Guild of America. You'll be hearing more about all of them throughout the entire series of presentations. So again, thank you to all our sponsors. At the end of today's presentation, you will also see our credit scroll, thanking all of the people behind the scenes who made this event possible, including our production and technical partner, Ganoid Communications, our creative team at Gumbo Marketing, and the many folks at Johnson & Wales University, our hosts for this, our 4th annual gathering. So stick around if you will. But now it's time to get things rolling with today's presentation, so let's go live. And once again, welcome to the Johnson & Wales International Symposium on Bread, presented by Puratos. Welcome back. We are now live, both here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and also just outside of Los Angeles. Guy, you're going to have to tell me again the name of the town you're in, but we're with Guy Frenkel, AKA Seor, who made a phenomenal presentation on Monday. Many of you were there for that. If you missed it, please check the archives and watch that presentation in which Guy lays out sort of his premise of what bread couture is, and in a sense, one of the angles of the future of bread and how to get there. And today he's going to show us a little bit about how he actually executes some of the concepts that he showed us in his slides on Monday. So today is demo day, and Guy has a demo for us straight from the bake shop at his bakery. Guy, where are you? In what town?
Well, the town, I'm in Los Angeles in general, but wait, I'm going to lower. I have 2 devices.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get closer to the mic.
And I will come closer to the mic. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Excellent now.
And you can see me. Where am I?
I can see the cutting board, the peel.
So here's what I suggest. If you can hear me and see me, scroll to the other view and lock the view on my table from the other camera if you wish to see my face. Basically, I'm giving you 2 angles, but the microphone is coming from here.
Okay, but go ahead and unmute.
Fine.
You'll have to unmute the camera.
Springs, which is a town just outside Los Angeles.
Can you say it again?
I can't hear you. Let's turn that up and figure it out.
I talked
Oh.
over you. Can you say the
No,
name
the
of that
volume
town
of the-
again?
Hello?
Yeah.
The
Say the
volume
name. Say the name of the town again.
But don't mute, but keep me unmuted and
It's breaking up.
muted. So I'm speaking from here, but I can hear from there. Am I muted?
Guy, the image is great, but the voice is coming through a little bit choppy.
How about now?
Much better. There you go. Then there you are. Okay. So I over talked you when you were saying which part of LA you're in.
Santa Fe Springs, it's a
Santa
town just outside Los Angeles.
Santa Fe Springs. Okay. So those of you out there on the West Coast, that's you can kind of dial that in. Those of us from the rest of the country, just think Los Angeles, a big sprawling metropolis. And this is your new bake shop, your new bakery. And I see you've got you on the camera, and then you've also got I
There's
see
Gabe. Gabe is our head baker here at Seor. Say hi.
Gabe. Hey Gabe.
He'll
All
be
right.
assisting me in operating the camera at key moments.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to you. Before I do, I just want to remind everybody before we get too deep into it that coming Monday we have Eric Pallant, the author of the new book Sourdough Culture, in which he traces the lineage of one particular sourdough, and in so doing tells the whole story of sourdough in general. It's a terrific book. I've read it. It's just coming out now, and Eric will be presenting on Monday to tell us all about that. Next Wednesday, join us for Michael Gleason and Daniel Kurzrock. Michael Gleason is part of the Innovation Center at Puratos, and Daniel Kurzrock is co-owner of Regrain, a company that specializes in upcycling spent beer grains and turning it into flour. And they're going to be talking about grains good for you and good for the planet. That will be next Wednesday. So join us. You'll get a chance to see a little bit about their work with this conversion of spent grain into usable flour. And also they're going to explore sort of the whole notion of diversity of grains. And then the following week, we'll have Mark Vetri, the Iron Chef himself, Mark Vetri, along with Claire Kopp-McWilliams and David Joachim. The three of them together are the authors of this book, Mastering Bread, and in which they explore, in particular, a real focus on the use of high extraction bolted flour as one of the keys to the kinds of breads that, and the naturally leavened breads that he's promoting out there and teaching us how to make. So that's all still coming up. And with that all said, I'm going to turn things over to Guy. And Guy, I'm going to mute my camera. I'm going to have all the focus on you. Our team will be highlighting. You tell them which camera you want them to highlight, and or if they need to go back and forth, just give them a cue. All right, it's all yours.
So Peter, since I'm such a space head, how long is this demonstration?
All right, I'm on my speaker view now. So the big screen I'm seeing is you standing at the peel, staring straight ahead. That's you. And
how long is this presentation?
We have till the end of the hour. So you've got another 45 minutes.
So
we're getting a little bit of feedback, Guy.
I know, because the two devices, and I'm a boomer. I haven't figured it out. Okay, so here's the deal. I was supposed to have some breads already baked as a final result, and then go through everything with you, but they just finished proofing, and so if we want to see a final result, we better put them in the oven now.
Okay, let's put them in first.
Start by stenciling, scoring, loading an oven, and then we'll go back to the beginning and see how we got there. So
beautiful. Let's do it.
That's how that's going to go, okay? So I'm going to start with these. All right. So what we're going to learn today is a little bit of shaping and stenciling, right? And how much shaping relates to the stenciling. So I'm gonna flour the boards. I want a nice transfer, and we're just getting used to these boards and to the oven setup, so I hope they'll transfer fine.
Hey,
This
Guy,
is some purple corn that I milled for one of the doughs, and this was left over. It makes for a beautiful.
we're getting some notes, Guy, from some of the viewers. Can you hear me?
Guy,
Can you hear me? We're getting some notes from the viewers saying, please turn all the sound all the way down on one of your devices.
Got it. So turn it off here,
That's
but then I can
feedback.
here.
The two devices, even if one's muted, is causing feedback. So turn one of the sounds off.
So turn the volume off on there.
you're not gonna be able to hear it.
You might be. Turn it all the way up and put it on speakerphone. All right, so let's look here in these.
Okay, and then
And
if you
these
could,
are they're called purses or clutch purses. It's a French traditional or a French shape. And we'll see about how we got there in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to transfer them to the board, stencil them.
and speak, if you can, speak louder. Speak a little louder. It's still coming through muted. It's a little,
Guy, I don't know.
a little,
if you can hear us.
your sound is coming,
Oh,
the sound is coming through, but it's a
They
little,
can hear us well. Yeah. All right. So like this and like that. Stencil them. Let me just make sure that it's transfer okay. Okay, so a word about stencils. We'll talk about it more later, but these are covers for floor heaters or wall heaters, right? It's like from Osh. I think Osh went under and they had a sale on these, so I picked up a bunch. We'll get into more details. I just want to get them in the oven now.
Sure.
So we
Yeah,
have final results.
let's get them baking so that we can see them when they come out.
All right, I'm closer to the microphone. This is a blend of like white flour,
And our,
Coruscant, spelled whole wheat. So it's not like white. I'm not crazy about the pure whiteness of white flour. And I'm gonna
Gurmit,
to
at your
cover as much as I
side, Gurmit,
can.
Can you get the spotlight on the camera
Nice
that's
and
closer
even.
to the bread?
Should be nice.
Oh, there we go. We've got two views now. That's good. That's good.
The next one. So sometimes, like here, I'll have to go gradually and move. You don't get to go back. I needed to put the sign, do not disturb. There's actually 20 people or 16 people on the other side that are working. I hope they won't move too much. That's a bit too cakey. I was thinking about the door. Oh, fuck. Just handle it if you're gonna handle it. So look, you see, it only touches on top there, but not here, and I don't want it to be faded, so I'm going with where it's touching, and then slowly moving along. Don't get to go back to where it lifted from. So,
Great.
and last one. Cover it once. Just want to barely cover it, right? You don't want chunks of it on them. All right, so these are clutch purses. I'll say it in French, but I don't know that. Douche, maybe. And there's no scoring needed. We'll see how this works in a minute. What's next?
You do the These are the
rose and the rose. Got it.
two covered ones right there.
So we will go over everything, right? This was supposed to be the final result. This was all supposed to happen before you guys showed up. So it's like a little double.
But real life gets in the way sometimes. So for those who just joined us, guys, getting these
side
stencils,
down, so the top is nice.
and then after he gets them in the oven, he's going to take us back and show us how he does the stenciling and the shaping.
Right. So, this is like a double flip, right? The bottom stays on the bottom. There you go. All right, so the difference between those and those is this is a swirl. This is a swirl that is wrapped with a little bit of black charcoal though. I'll show you after how we did this. Right press. Oh, bro. Okay, improvising. This is too big. So. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell. All right, so it's broken into two pieces, and the challenge is not to drop the flour on the nice black portion of the dough. I'll do my best, and if I fail, forgive me.
Sweet, sweet.
One more. See, it's broken, stem broke. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to try on tools would be this. I mean, petards, sorry. Ready? If there's a distance between your stencil and the dough, it's a little bit blurry, right? Because the flour won't have a defined edge, like a shadow, if you want. Right. Sometimes the dough is wet coming out of the proofer, or if you cover your basket with plastic, you gotta be careful so it doesn't stick to it.
Nice, nice.
So Peter, we're a little bit time sensitive anyway. It's not the perfect time for questions, and I can't hear you. So, but I hope that's okay. We'll ask all the questions later because we're going to kind of do this again. Maybe all of it again. I think. It's slow. just so we can see a baked version. Because you know, sourdough has its own. What else are we doing? We're going to pour this before the oven, but not quite yet. I don't know how long it's going to take us to prepare everything else. So I don't want it to be too late. So this stencil was made with this shape. Sorry, this stencil was made with this shape in mind. And I wasn't sure how long or how big the square will end up being, of course. So there's a little bit of a gap here. And I can control it like this and keep it clean. Even though you don't have to, you can have a little bit of flour on the other color. But this is it, or we pay attention to details. And then we surrender to chaos. There's sourdough bakers too. All right. Good. I'm actually not sure we have enough peels. Maybe these we want to keep on those and make a couple of these that might be longer peel, right?
For those, yeah.
This is
So
fine.
we have two
Leave
more.
The other ones for these two and these two are those.
But we can put all four onto one of the square peels, right?
These. Running out of peels. Yeah. Oh, so let me stencil this. So we can do. Should I do another one, please?
Do this stuff.
It's amazing how much these breads change in appearance from their original design and how they kind of come alive when you stencil them, and it just creates so much energy.
All right. Don't lose your mind. This is cool. Oh, interesting. All right, you see, I didn't do a test, so we're learning. I don't want to smudge the one that I already did. Smudge?
Almost.
Smudge?
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to match, you see this, ones I've already done here. That's it's a little OCD. It doesn't have to be so crazy. And no shape. working? I've never tried this technique before, but I always had a problem estimating the right size of the Star of David. That's the Star of David. Hold it up. All right.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yes. That's chest.
Think so?
So first I just made like a chessboard, but then I thought I'll start the match. If anybody wants to. Never done the stencil before. I thought it was cool for a square stencil.
So is this the world premiere of your chessboard stencil?
See. Yes. Right.
Pretty cool.
So what I'm going to do, because as you can see, it would be nice if it was a little, so I'm just opening it to make room for the stencil. This way for the king. The other one's not a legal. Okay. Let's pour these before the oven.
Yep.
So this is just a regular marble, like two-toned pool, proofed seam side down. So again, it's a bit big for the loaf. But maybe, you know what? I was going to do that, but I'm going to do this. This will give me more room. It's nice and simple. It's got two, because I forgot to connect with a little bit of paper. First I was using, oh, you know what's really good for these? If it's sticky and in the center like this.
Man.
This is a stencil we made for a different loaf. But the loaf I made for this, that tsunami, is a bit big, and I want the bread to open up nice. So go with a smaller round stencil. have plans, and then the bread will tell you what it's going to be. Like we planned to bake this earlier, but here we are. See the fade because it was lifted up. You can see how it's talking about this earlier. It's not well-defined edges compared to these. All right. So what else do we got?
Yeah.
Bit much. This one's better, right? I need scissors. Oh, wow. It's already pretty. Let's just enjoy it the way it is. Now, remember how it was a little faded in the other one? You don't like me to do? Try to solve it. Doesn't flip. Gotta be gentle and slow. Sticking to the dough underneath. Not ideal, but that's what the test coats are for. All right, we managed. One more. No. Okay. So we were supposed to have more dough, and when we make the next one, we will. But for now, trying to think. I've only done this once, and never repeated it, but I thought it would be a good example of creativity. It's not necessarily the best shape in the whole world, but it's mine. Black hole sun. Definitely use a little more dough on the thing. But we have more dough on the next example, right? That's what it says, break this course, draw conclusions and adapt. We did. That's not bad.
Gorgeous.
I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, that's the
No
mystery.
promises.
It's going to look different when it comes out of the oven, but it's pretty cool before it goes in.
So now we're going to score. Wait, let's just see how many we have. One there, two there, good, there. Good. We need one more. One more of this square. Good.
Yeah, we can fit that with the other two.
So here, I'll use this one instead, so you can see that you don't have to be fancy. Key, guys, don't come in. No, we're on camera. All right, so I'm just blocking the part I don't really want covered too much, but whatever. But why not? Also, it's both. Don't have to, but why not? So this is again the grill cover. Whatever it's called. Amazing. Maybe something that. Okay. So I'm just scoring at a 45-degree angle, or as parallel as I can, really, right, to the surface. So it opens up like an ear and lifts. And on the other one, I'll show you that if you train your wrist, you can do it with one motion. But you gotta know where to start. Okay. So that hopefully should open well. And now if you go like this, from here. Boom. All right, and then you just gotta make sure you get under there. You see how my blade gets under, almost parallel? It's gonna ensure that it opens the right way, or the way that I want it to. There is no right way. And ensure is also the wrong word. It's giving me better chances at it. It's a better way to put it. Okay, these are ready for the oven. These are ready. These. Chessboards, a little like an old t-shirt. It's a coolness to it, embrace it. So this is that geode effect. Sorry. I want it to lift up, so I make sure that it's separated here at the corners where it would have the biggest tendency to stick back rather than lift. It's the lowest point at the loaf. So you want to make sure that you separate this, lift this corner up a bit. Give yourself a better chance. All right. And of course, you can do a better job. Accuracy. Let's try it here. I won't speak about scoring. Oh, I'm sorry. These are wrapper doughs, so the chances that it won't lift are quite slim, actually, in this case. But if this was just a regular boule, then what I'm saying about the corner applies more, right? About this lifting up. Even here, they can stick much smaller chances. Ready for the oven.
Yep. Last one.
Okay, so this I haven't tried before, but I thought it might be cool to try with you guys. Is I'm going to accent what I see. I might have to separate the blade. In the scoring, and hope for the best. Again, this is experimental because the spirit of experimenting is more important than for me to make the best thing that I already know 100% will work, right? To show you me doing something on the fly that I've never tried, there's more value in that than in you seeing the perfect result, in my opinion. Right, this looks cool. Go a little faster. I need to bake, not anything else. And because it's a rapid dough, there's a good chance that it's just going to do it anyway really well. I'm leaning on the fact that this is two doughs that are separated and are going to want to naturally slide off each other. All right. So the little things I'm leaving is to give it a bit of strength as it rips so it doesn't totally spill. Seen that happen. Back to it. Let's just see how we do this. It's not a big deal. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inside it's purple corn and another dough with whole grains and spelt. I'll do the same here. So this is without the wrapper dough. You can see the difference in how the ear lifts or how the top part lifts off with and without the wrapper. It's both ways. Smile if you can. You get better results. And you enjoy yourself more. It's also scientific. The second thing. All right. I don't know what will happen. Listen. Right? That's all right?
That's it.
How is quality here?
Well, you put them lengthwise, we can roll it out.
This. All right, so this is a quick dip into a working factory. We're going to load ovens, and then we'll come back.
We're going to follow you in.
Yeah, with one camera.
Okay, he's carrying. We're going to follow you in to the bakery, to the ovens. Lost one.
Wait, stop it. Okay. It's okay. We saved it. It only fell. It only fell.
I got this.
Got this one? Sure. So this one fell a little bit, but Gabe has, I think he might be Superman because that was too fast for humans. Yeah. You know, like Clark Kent when he's too fast and she can tell, Lois can tell that he's Superman. That's what just happened. Let me just think of what goes where. It doesn't matter. I will see. Kiss her on. All right, hold this.
Mm. So we'll talk about this oven later because it looks like it's essentially a backfitted rotating oven that you've turned into a deck oven.
First one.
You have one on top as well. Save that for the bottom.
Here we go. Yeah.
You have two.
Oh, I didn't score it.
You have two. Oh.
What's the door for?
Okay. I don't know if you can hear us. Did you give that a blast of steam? We'll find out.
1:48. When does the class end?
Amazing. Now the zillion questions are coming in, and I'm sure that you're probably going to be addressing some of it as you talk about how you got them to the stage before we got to you. But
I'm going to show you some of the shaping. Yes. It's
So-
not, you only get to ask questions about stencil.
So while those are baking, and I'm going to announce for the group right now, Guy, can you hear me?
We have that echo problem.
I don't know if Guy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is we're going to run over today. I'm going to let this run over rather than go right to the VIP lounge afterwards. We're going to stay with you here on the webinar, for as long as it takes to get through the demo, and whatever time we have left over at the end, we'll gather for those in the VIP lounge. But I know that we won't make it out of here by 5 o'clock, which is East Coast time, which is 10 minutes from now. So we're going to keep going while the breads are baking. So you just go ahead and start the next phase of what you were going to show us.
Okay, cool. So we'll go until the breads come out of the oven, which should be in about 40 minutes.
Okay, so we'll go about approximately a half an hour over today.
It'll be a half hour over. Is that okay?
Yeah, and then as you're going, if you can hear me, I will throw out some of the questions because people are asking all sorts of pertinent questions.
Why don't you hit me with a bunch of questions?
All right. Couple questions. Do you make the stencils yourself, or do you have a particular machine that you recommend to cut the stencils?
Yeah, I was just telling Gabe that in order for him to appreciate the machine.
Closer, speak closer to the live mic.
Oh, yeah, it's this mic. So I was telling Gabe earlier that in order for him to fully appreciate the machine we have, I should make him spend 50 to 100 hours cutting stencils by hand the way I did. But yeah, this was cut by a commercial, like a plotter, right? There's a knife and I design all of them myself. And then there's a little robot that cuts them for me. And I don't know the name of I can go look after next. I think Cameo is one.
So some
brand,
people,
but I'm not sure for sure.
Some people are suggesting that you can also buy stencils. You can have some stencils cut for you by people that do it.
I use stuff from nature, like leaves, or like a well-defined, like wheat is a beautiful stencil, an actual wheat head. It lifts off beautifully and leaves a nice stencil.
Nice.
These are the heaters. So once you're stenciling, you will start seeing stencils everywhere. You'll see
Right.
spatulas with holes. You go, oh, that would be a cool if I use it 4 times around. If you start
Now,
thinking that
couple
way,
of-
you won't find stencils everywhere.
Right. Couple other questions. How do you keep the loaf from breaking through the scoring? But you talked a little bit about while you were doing it, but how do you keep it as it rises? How do you keep it from breaking through some of the design pieces?
Through the wrapper dough?
Either wrapper dough or even without the wrappers.
In the oven or while it proofs?
Well, I guess the question was, once you put them in, how do you protect the stencil design work from being messed up by the oven spray?
Oh, I understand. I wasn't sure what the question was.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think you might find some of them got some little on the way to the oven. Sorry, the microphone is here. And secondly, as far as not breaking, I score it in the way that I know that the pattern, where the pattern is an area that won't burst. I make enough, that's why I was making sure that there's enough elsewhere for the dough to expand.
Mhm.
And it only will break the top parts if it fails to expand from where the score is.
Are you
These
using
should be blooming beautifully from everywhere but the design.
chilled
For
dough?
example, the round stencil that I wanted to use was too big, and I only score around.
Uh-huh.
That increases the chance that flat center would burst because it's so far away from all of that energy and lava in the middle, and the scoring is too far away. So I used the smallest stencil to make sure that the top doesn't burst. So
I
actually,
see.
it's a great question, and I had that in mind when I switched stencils. Right?
Now, some folks want to know, are you using chilled dough? Is the dough chilled at the point where you're working on it, or does it?
So sure, that dough just came from a 100-degree proofer because we were rushing, maybe even higher degrees. And it was moist and sticky. As you could see, I was struggling with some of the stencils. But other times, and definitely in the past at home, out of the fridge, and like you would a retarded proof loaf. And if you have it covered in the fridge, then it's very moist if you proof it side down, even in the basket.
It seemed pretty springy. Is the dough? Is it stiff? Is it a stiff dough for the most part?
We started with 75 hydration and didn't go much except for the whole wheat or not whole wheat, the one that has a lot of whole wheat in it, over 80. So they're stiffer than our usual, so they can hold these more complex designs.
Uh-huh.
And I would even hype up the hydration a little bit myself, but I played it safe because
For today, yeah. So there's no one rule on that. Let me see. What it says, do you try to score through both doughs when you have a wrapper dough, or are you trying to score only through the wrapper?
Yeah, that's a great question. You can do both and you'll get different results, and it depends on how thick your wrapper dough is. In this case, our wrapper doughs were a little small and they stretch quite thinly and they're also resistant. So if I only, and maybe in some cases I did, only score them, I might regret it in the result. Now that you ask this question, that's what I meant by peeling off, right? That will happen more because, yeah, they're supposed to separate, especially in the square one. The square one, I kind of just, I don't know. I haven't done it in a while. We should do it both ways and see what comes out better.
Okay.
So the wrapper dough or the wrapper dough and puncture in as if it's a regular dough. Great.
So a work in progress.
There's never one answer.
That's what we're starting to see here. Let's see. Somebody wants to know. You noticed that one of the breads was baked on a silpat. Can you explain why?
I was afraid of transferring it. It was like this whole wrapped dough, and I'll show you how to make it. That was a square or a star. And instead of starting to transfer it and mess it up, we actually dropped it, so it got a little messed up. We already proofed it on a transfer. We ran out of our silicone mat, so we used baking paper.
So someone says, one person says, I want one of these loaves. How much would one of these breads sell for?
How much does one of these breads sell? My breads start at like these that are colorful start at 35. They're usually around 50 and higher.
Starting at 35 and typically at $50 or higher.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bill, that's your answer. If we're not talking about your everyday $1 loaf here. Anywhere from $35 to $50 or more.
Because these didn't have crazy ingredients, but they are labor intensive, and we did make porridges or like carrot. Gabe made like carrot durum. What do you call it? Gelatin, like the Japanese.
Yeah. Based on your,
so there was more labor, but some of our ingredients, and we can take you for a quick tour, are extremely well. There's no, like, for example, pomegranate raisins. I can't buy it. I'm not in India, but we make them in season, right? We dehydrate our own pomegranate raisins and we use jasmine blossoms and tangerine peels, and it just goes on. And some of these ingredients are very expensive or non-existent, and you kind of have to make them yourself. And so, yeah.
So that, of course, adds to the value. What percentage do you foresee of these breads, considering all the other baking you're doing? What percentage of your output will be these artistic bread?
Wonderful question. So we think of Seor a little bit in terms of a whiskey company, and so there'll be labels, right? And this will be like the blue label, if you will, like the high-end ones that might not even be available. Only so far they're only available behind the password, right? It's like a secret list that even in Hollywood that has availability for these breads. It might stay like that at the very top tier, and then we have a medium tier that still might be colors and this, but not the crazy culinary ingredients that are super expensive. And then we also want, because we don't use yeast, we don't use additives, everything's organic. We also want to make that accessible to everybody. So we have like a red label that will be probably the bulk of the outputs, and that's cool. It's a little bit like couture. If you look at Isaac, what's his name, Mizrahi, the designer. So he makes the craziest stuff on the runway, but most of the output goes in Bloomingdale's. It's like old women dresses, you know, and they're nice, but it's not his catwalk stuff.
Well, just a couple more, and then I'm going to let you go to work here. One thing is, Mike asked. Mike, I know, is a retired engineer, so he knows things that I don't know. So he's saying, could you use a cry cut machine to make stencils? Do you know what a cry cut machine is? If not, we'll get Mike to tell us when we meet him in the lounge afterwards, the after party.
Yeah, I can Google and I can look and see.
And another question is, are these breads going to be available online?
Yes, 50 states.
And are they already available online, or is it
no, not available yet? We started with one product. It was unexpected. It's not even of the brand, but it got us going. We're making cookies right now, and a shoot ton of them.
Yeah, you got to take care of those cookies.
And the bread is coming next.
Okay. So basically, people need to stay tuned to your website or your
Instagram is the best place.
Instagram. Right, make sure you're following him on Instagram. Question: were you baking those? Was your oven set to 525?
So good question. We got stones yesterday. Ferment stones. They're not our sponsors. And they just finished curing them half an hour ago.
Wow.
We hope it's going to bake well, but
wow. So we're seeing a lot of first.
And we're basically hacking one of our rack oven until our bread oven gets here, the pull-in bread oven that we just.
Yeah. So you're waiting for your bread oven, but you've basically retrofitted your rotating oven with these slabs. So we're getting to see a first of a lot of things today.
This is the first, yeah. And basically,
what was
we heated it to 280C. That's higher than 500.
280C.
You guys can punch it into your phone and see.
Somebody out there do a quick calculation and chat.
Finished loading, really. And then we steamed it quite heavily. And then we hacked the delay so the heat and the fan don't go on for the first 35 minutes.
Oh.
33 minutes.
Oh.
So it's just spinning in the radiating residual heat of the stones in the middle walls. And we hope that it's going to think that it's a deck oven and give us similar results.
Interesting. I didn't know you could do that. My oven won't do that.
We're going to find out together, Peter. We're going to all find out today.
All right. Well, listen, why don't you
Do some shaping?
yeah, let's show us how you got to the first part.
Yeah. All right. First thing we'll do. So the first thing is a very traditional or more traditional French shape called the clutch, something that represents clutch purse. However you put it, I'm sorry for butchering. I don't like to flour anything with white flour. I don't think it's pretty, right? If I had white flour here right now, it would be very glaring. So this was pre-shaped as a swirl. We have two doughs. One is very heavy on purple corn, and the other is heavy on whole wheat and spelt. And I'm just turning it over after it was pre-shaped. And I'm going to look for the part I like best as the loaf and the part that I'm going to want to open up. And in this case, and then I'm also going to elongate it like this. You see, I'm just really going to, like that. All right. It's very wet on the bottom of it. So I throw some flour, not too much, it's still sticky. And earlier I was using a different one. Now we're on camera. This goes back at least to my great-grandmother. And I don't know about earlier than that. Okay, so guys, this is the nice side of the loaf. It's face down. And now I'm going to divide it to like 2/3 and 1/3. And this last third here, you see it?
Yep.
There. This will be the cover that will cover over this.
This is a pretty classic technique, right?
So it's often good to start flattening a piece of dough by hand. You get to see where the thicker parts are better than what the roller would tell you. So big, a little joke earlier. Your fingers are an extension of your hand. So basically, we're going to do this, right? And you can do it very thin, or you can leave like a centimeter, like we have here. But here's the trick. Oh, by the way, Gabe, if you want to give it more structure, you see how here it's you can do a little bit of this and then fold it. Okay, it's pretty flat, like fun. All right, so fat and untouched, flattened out as much as you can get it, or as much as you want it to. And then here's the trick. So you want this lip to lift up. It's going to be sitting here, and you don't want it to mesh. So what you do is you coat it with a little bit of olive oil, like this. You make sure to go over the lip so it doesn't catch accidentally in the movement or in the loading, a little bit of wet dough from the other side and stick to it. That's good, not too much. This right here is where it's going to be. All right, and you want the rest of it to pretty much stick. And usually you put flour here because it's wet and you're flattening it, so a little bit of water will help it actually mesh together. All right, that's all it takes. And then we had it pushed before, but we do have to integrate. Again, the gooch, I'm dusting with some whole wheat rather than white. Especially since we're stenciling, you don't want white already there, right? And I'm doing it the same way I'm going to bake it. You want to make sure that the lip is just so. Not so it doesn't go under. All right.
By the way, just so you know, the numbers came in, 280 degrees centigrade is 500.
Wait, I'm coming for the question. You know, the echo and the whole thing. We're doing the best.
I'm telling this for everybody else's
Second,
benefit.
boss.
536 degrees Fahrenheit.
What's the question?
No, the question is, it's that 280C is the same as 536 Fahrenheit. So from
Yeah, freaking hot.
That's
Because there won't be a heating body turning on back on for 35 minutes.
Oh, so
and we're putting in a bunch of dough, so it drops pretty quickly, and then it doesn't. It stays.
I see. So you're using the
visit it, and you'll see what the temperature is at.
Yeah.
What are we at? 28 minutes. We can go look now.
Well, we got residual heat.
Before we move on to the next dough.
Go ahead.
Let's go. I won't be able to hear you, Peter. Do you have a flashlight? So our light is busted. So now we're at 253 at the top of the oven where the thermostat is. There's no fan to circulate, so it's lower below. And you can see, if you can see, it's looking really nice. And the answer is yes, I probably could have scored deeper on the bottom loaf. What a great question. Yeah, definitely should have scored all through, like both loaves on those boules without the wrapper dough. What a great question. And that's looking pretty amazing. Okay. Wow. All right, we'll have good results. I feel much better.
All right. Go on.
How much of it? Temp
keep
or
them baking.
Drop of a temp we had.
Keep them baking and use
right on
shaping.
to make our full use of the hour. And okay. Wrapper dough. You open it. This is gonna go fast just because we're running out of time and I want to get through it. If you have questions, you can slow me down. Peter.
Just keep the questions will stay. The questions will stay up on here. We'll just
No, but not yet. Let me first get through this. So here I have a wet towel that is moist. See, there's not water under here, but it's nice and moist. Here I have a whole bunch of black sesame seeds. Here I have a black dough that has been relaxed. Now, the trick is between where you want it to stick and where you want it to relax. So I'm making a ring that's about 1 inch away from the edge. And it's my gamble. It's the best I can do.
Yeah.
I'm leaving a little center that's clean. And I'm definitely leaving a long edge. And this is it. All right, now we pre-shape the swirl. I'm going to finish shaping it. This is not the way, it's just one way. Of course, there's a bowl. And now I take it into the moist. I give it a nice swirl, both ways actually, because I want the bottom to stay, but I only put seeds on the top. See, this is the bottom. I lift it from the bottom and directly with the seeds onto the wrapper dough, like so. Slow down so you can see it. It's laying on the wrapper dough. And now I'm stretching out the remainder of the wrapper dough, but not the center. And I'm going to bring it up and wrap it. That's why we call it wrapper dough. And so what the olive oil did, and then you can give it a little tuck, and there, it's hiding, and there's basically a layer of sesame and a little bit of olive oil just about here, right? There was a center, and then here is where I'll be scoring. So if I wanted only the black to lift, it's important to do that. Now, We're doing something else with this. We're going to turn this into the square, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So if we left it like this, right now we could stencil the chessboard, and that would be awesome. Instead, I'll show you how to make this square, which is even more awesome. Or awesome in a different way. Okay, so this is the nice side. This is where we wrapped it, bunched everything up. So it's inside up, and I'm going to make 2 cuts. You got to make sure that you leave about ½ an inch. Find the right tool. Flatten it a bit like this. Makes everything easier, nicer. All right. Watch carefully. Get this. 2 angles on this. It's cool. All right. Awesome. Okay. So you see, I'm leaving about ½ an inch, ½ an inch. I'm cutting straight down. Making sure it's separated, and an X, as exact as you can. We're not the machines, we're the artists. And then I'm flipping it over like so. Look.
Mm,
Think of it like an origami trick.
cool.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right, and then the circle became a square. And think about the geometry trick that happened here later. And then once it's proofed, you can stencil it. Polka dots or the sunrise, sunshine rays, or whatever you like. Now, this one I came up with, it's based on the classical one that's even more complex than this, which is the Star of David one that actually existed before this. So the Star of David is exactly the same. Look, I'm opening the wrapper dough. It's a little bit like a pizza dough. This would make a beautiful pizza. It's not dead, right? It's fermented alongside all the other ones. It's exactly the same. Well, it's a good dough. Yummy dough. All right. So I'm going to 15. All right, like this. This is extremely important here, the olive oil, because you want the black wings to lift if you can. All right, and I won't even put it, it's so moist, it doesn't need the wet towel, right? That depends always on. Cool. So. Usually you want to let it relax for like 20 minutes before you cut it. Like this one, we didn't. We went straight away, but it's fine. Okay, should I wait for you or? Oh, cool. I love that you're magicians that went silent. All right, so I'm turning it over. As you can see, this is the non-surface side. And instead of 2 cuts, we're gonna make 3. And that means that the angle here would be, which is 6 pieces. So that's like 60 degree angle. So wet. So, and I hope it makes sense what I'm doing here. And then look, here's the magic. You flip it outwards. Like, oh God, didn't work well. I'm in a rush. And it should have rested, of course. It's like sticking as it's flipping. But, oh goodness me, there. Yeah, it's really sticky. Should be on a paper, should be a little more floured, but anyway, you get the idea.
Right. So you get the star, more of a star effect.
I'll gather this after. It will be the best one.
You got your geode.
Right. What else did you want to show? You showed the first, you showed the sun, we kind of saw anyway, you just make a ring. Okay, sure.
Which we have.
So this is similar to a wrapper dough, but it's a ring. So I wash my elbows when I get to work. You go like this, and this I learned from Johan. He's a master. So you make a ring. It's nice to do it in a couple of stages so it's relaxed. And then, where's the other? You don't have? No, fine, let's wait. Oh, this. What was this supposed to be? Another guitar? All right. So, fine. So I go like this. Oh, voila.
Yeah.
And then you can leave it like this. You can score it here. You can cut out. We've already seen me cut them out just a second ago to make like a sun. Oh, shit.
All right. Uh-oh. Get to the oven.
So,
5 minutes, so soon.
all right, I think I'm ready for questions. Let me just wash my hands.
All right.
Yes.
So, Guy, how much longer? Did you just turn the convection back on?
It turns back on automatically after the 33-minute delay. I rushed in and said, "Oh, shit," because I didn't turn.
Can you-
the temperature down.
Can you get closer? Get closer to the other mic.
Oh, of course. Sorry. I said, "Oh shoot," and ran because I didn't turn down the temperature from the 280 preheat to like 235, which is what I wanted to come up back to.
I see.
If I forget to do that, it will scorch it before I realize.
Yeah.
It goes all the way to 520.
So, what would you estimate? How much time's left on the bake?
When did we put it in? Does anybody remember the time?
It's been in now for about 30 minutes.
So probably another 5 to 8.
Uh-huh.
The bottom might be 10 more. We can go and probably open and take a peek and decide together.
Here's a question that came in from Runner.
Oh,
What is
I'm gonna vent it now. I'm gonna go vent it.
Okay, well, we'll wait for you to come back and then we'll do questions.
No, I'm taking you with me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What is the weight?
Wait, they wanted to see.
There we go.
2 more minutes.
Beautiful. Are you're just going to let them you're just going to let
Closing
them
it back on and turning the heat back on and maybe vent it.
vent it? So you're going to dry them out.
I was telling
Okay.
Gabe.
So probably another 5 or 10 minutes. What's the weight between the boule and the wrapper? Like what's the difference in weight between the two pieces
Between the wrapper dough, you mean, and the
and the main boule?
we did here we might have changed it. The earlier ones that we showed were
We're not- can't hear you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Peter. Here. So the earlier ones were 200 wrapper dough and 800, so 400 and 400 to make an 800 boule because it was swirled.
Wow.
So 800 inside and 200 on the outside.
So 4-to-1. 4-to-1.
Yeah.
Uh,
But that doesn't stay consistent, right? It's a sphere. So I don't know what exactly the math on that would be.
right. Somebody wants to know, does the squid ink give the dough any squid flavor? Does it have a particular flavor?
Squid ink embarks a slight umami flavor in my experience. But this is a charcoal.
And you use charcoal, not squid ink today.
Yeah.
Here's what does comment on charcoal. Checked on the FDA's position on activated charcoal as a food additive. As of 2019, they were not approving it.
Not approving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I moved away from it. But for today's demo, I can kind of
Yeah.
and I found an old
For decorative purposes. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I mentioned yesterday that I moved away from it.
So I guess I was pronouncing it wrong. The stencil cutting machine, the cry cut machine is the one, or Cricut. I guess if somebody says it's pronounced Cricut. The Cricut machine that they're used a lot by the do-it-yourselfers. So I'm sure many of you know more about it than I do.
Or me.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing too many other questions here. Let's see. The weight, we got that. A lot of comments on how entertaining it is, and how beautiful the loaves are. Yeah, let's see. Oh, somebody wanted to know, by opening the door for so long to load, did it affect it? And then somebody else commented that your oven has a pretty fast recovery time. It looked like it did because it got back up to 280 pretty quickly. And I think
once we opened the door, the heat never went back on.
And those stones really hold a lot of that heat in the oven.
Yeah. Because we can't turn it on back on. I don't want it to close usually a convection oven. It turns on the heat with the fan and it closes the score right up. And then it becomes like a...
So one other question was, how long did the breads proof and bulk ferment?
Almost enough.
Yeah, a bulk rise first, I suppose.
They bulked yesterday and we retarded them. We got here this morning at 5, got to them by 6. I think, no, even much later than expected.
So basically you kind of have to just let the dough tell you, but after you've shaped them and before you should be between shaping and baking, how much proofing time is there typically?
Just the right amount if you can figure it out.
Would you say about an hour to an hour and a half? Or
no, I refuse to say time. That means absolutely nothing. It depends on how well you bulked it and how much.
So it's all about, okay, so it's all, the big answer is it depends. It totally depends on your situation.
Absolutely. I'm saying when you touch it and it feels like, look, let me show you. What do you think? Here. You see this? How soft and full of air it is. And when I touch it, there's little dimples that are left, but not too much. This is almost ready, even though I just pre-shaped it not too long ago.
Yeah.
It's almost ready.
All right. By the way, for those who are watching, Gene posted a link to the Cricut machine. If anybody wants to look it up, I'm looking it up myself as we speak.
Oh, awesome.
So that's something that Cricut.cricut, cricut.com. Check it out. And yeah, it looks like that's your stencil, like a good stencil cutter right there. Okay, back to
mine. I think is Camaro, It works. They all work. It's not complicated task.
That just, I guess, is a popular version. So how close do you think we are to pulling breads? It's almost
now.
Okay, we're gonna go take the bread. We're gonna look at the bread, see if they can come out of the oven. And once we get them out of the oven, we'll line them up. We'll put them all out there. Maybe we'll get a screenshot of
ready to put them. Yeah. 1 second, I'll line it up. get a shot going here. Now, I don't know that they're all successful, but again, I don't care. And if I make one for really important VIPs, I make enough that there's one perfect one for sure.
Yeah. You always have more than one.
By
and of
design,
cour-
I plan for it.
And of course, when you're doing something like
All
that,
right, here we go. You want this?
when you're doing that for a client, you're not multitasking either. You're staying really focused. Nice. But that chessboard really came through nice and clear. Yeah. Now this is like the catwalk here.
So this worked out. You see the dough underneath didn't explode. It had a little bit of place to explode on the other side, and yet all that lifted like a cracker was the wrapper dough in the design. It's really cool. Same here, you see?
Let's get a check. Let's get a good shot of the chessboard too.
This is one that dropped a little bit and dropped a bit more. This one opened just partially. This one's really cool. Let's play.
Yeah.
It's a Dali chessboard.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What I was going for.
All right. So there we go. So Guy, I'm gonna say let's wrap this session up and move into the after party for those who can join us. And can you hear me? Okay. So first, let me thank you for an amazing 2 days of presentations. Again, for those who didn't see Monday's presentation with the slides and everything, please check that out on the archives. This presentation will also be archived, and many of you will be watching it on the archives. We answered as many questions as we could, but most of it's technique, and as Guy pointed out, a lot of it is just practice, trial and error, figuring it out based on some of the principles that he showed us. And for those of us who can join us in the VIP lounge for the after party, I think we're going to have some more in-depth questions for you, Guy. But again, thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you also to, was it Gabe who was helping you out there?
Yeah, Gabriel.
Gabriel, thank you so much for all your help today. And
You'll see a lot of them.
we'll look forward to coming out and seeing you out in LA. And also a reminder that pretty soon, keep tracking him on Instagram. You'll be able to order some of these breads as well. Again, so for those of you who are going to join us again.
Oh, and Monday, Peter.
Yeah.
Check out Cast Your Bread on Instagram if you want to bake for hungry people.
Thank you. Yes, we talked about that on Monday. We didn't mention it today. Cast Your Bread is a project started by a guy that is now taken off around the country, a way that bakeries are producing bread and making them available to people who can't afford to buy bread. And so it's a major project, Cast Your Bread. And I guess Instagram is the best place again to follow that, right?
Yeah, there's also a website, castyourbread.org, I believe.
Castyourbread.org. All right. And remember, come back on Monday for Eric Palland on sourdough culture, the whole story of sourdough. And more and more, we've got 2 more months of presentation. So we're coming down to the final round.
Congratulations, Peter. Amazing project, by the way.
And thank you, Guy. We'll see you. You and I will log out right now. We'll log back in a couple minutes in the VIP lounge. Everybody else can migrate over there. And again, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you at the next session. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thank you to our team behind the scenes. Our event, technical and production partners, Ganoid Communications, including our producer, Gurmit Singh, and his team, Jita Gajaria, Gagandeep Singh, and Jaydev Kashari. Thanks also to Ted Nelson and Lael Fretzel of our creative and marketing team at Gumbo Marketing, and the many folks at Johnson & Wales University who supported me throughout this event. My executive assistant, Sarah Standifer, communications director, Melinda Law, Chancellor Mim Rooney, Charlotte Campus President Cheryl Richards, and our executive team leaders, deans and faculty, Maureen Dumas, Michael Schrader, Michelle Nicholas, Mark Norman, Brent Steyerwalt, Laurie Heimbach, Jerry Lanuza, Amy Felder, Harry Paymiller, Richard Miskovich, and many, many others. Thank you all.